नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा वसुदेवं सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं हरि ओम. Yes, can somebody recollect what is it that we saw last? We form the link and we go ahead. Yes, please.
Where to go?
Joy ji, Aditi ji, Sharda ji, or Chitra ji, anybody?
No.
I will go ahead. Yeah. So we saw that in one of the answers, Sri Aurobindo explains that the physical world is a field where forces from other worlds also can manifest and play here. And so one must be careful with the thoughts that we think, and as they can also manifest. We are like the physical instruments and make way for the manifestation what we bring through thoughts and actions. So that is something we saw. And Dr. Nirodbaran asks Sri Aurobindo about his dream where the mother had written something on his forehead, where it was mentioned that she fixed something on the vital that is yet to manifest in the physical world. So he just asks if it meant something like some impurity or something of that kind. So
Hmm.
Sri Aurobindo corrects him, stating that vital doesn't always mean lower thoughts or impurities or anything of that kind. And the feelings of self-confidence, strength also arise from the vital level, but they get mixed with the impure elements, which are not required. And then we see that Dr. Nirodbaran is still not very convinced about the avatar or new openings that can come from yoga. He says that it appears as though because Sri Aurobindo's avatar, it was possible for him, and so if there are any
Hmm.
other blessed people, they can do it. So Sri Aurobindo says that he isn't asking the sadhaks to actually find a path. It's basically he has uh, created a path, and a man's aspirations, when combined with the divine's grace and force, it is possible to transform. So these were some of
Ji.
the things that we saw.
He also felt the presence of Christ, also, he said, no, in this dream.
Mm.
There was Buddha also, there was Christ also, the mother was writing. Now, but what we see is it is somebody may interpret it as a good thing, isn't it? But here he is thinking that some impurity is being there, some impurity is like this is the nature of the mind. The mind becomes a interference in the anubhava. Means he got an anubhava. There is no doubt about that. It was a spiritual experience in the dream. But the mind, with its logic, becomes a barrier, preventing. Yeah, means they say Atmaiva Bandhuratman, Atmaiva Repuratmana. The same enemy is there. Now, since talking about writing, I think when I was young, 8th, 9th class, there was one favorite song. I used to hear it a lot. That time we had Walkmans. We used to put a cassette inside, and we had to wait for that song to come again. And so there was this beautiful song about, I think, maybe 10th or what, 11th, I don't remember. But keeping the time aside, there was this line in it. Don't you see the dreams I write on the back of, on the, or on the palm of your hands or something like that? And I used to think it is actually referring, the singer is having some kind of, because it's an English singer, he is using she was using a biblical reference, and that the Christ is writing the dreams into the hands, and that was all my interpretation. And when we got the internet, then I saw so many of my songs which I thought had special meanings. They really had very different meanings. Means that was not there. But what I'm trying to say is, our mind, we could use it, because even now, if when I listen to it, I prefer the older meanings. I don't want to read the meanings what the means in my when I play that song, I still play that meaning because it gives a spiritual turn to it. It gives me a greater happiness. Then why should I bother about one boyfriend has written something to other girlfriend, or it is just dialogue there? But when divine comes in, it's become something higher. So like that, we can use our mind as a springboard. Means mind can become an enemy, mind can become a barrier to proper reception. Somebody I know right now, this person at the at the tender age of 70 is trying to have a career change. Okay, and that person is career change means not the stream. Just I want to go, and that person is going to go, willing to go to middle of Timbuktu and serve a person who is a known crook. And that person was told that this person is a crook where you are going to be traveling. Don't, the indication is given, and the person says, no, I don't want to go. I mean, he says, I don't want to listen. I will go. I have decided. I have decided. And that person goes there and comes back in one day after making all the arrangements for staying for 11 months. What has happened here? This person got a hint, right? The person got a hint directly that this place is not a good place to go. Yet the mind is so rigid. Mind is so rigid that it will not change no matter what hint comes. And then this is exactly that which Sri Aurobindo wants to mold. Because when Dr. Nirodbaran's mind suddenly molds completely, then he will get that free flow. The same flow what Sri Aurobindo got. Today there was a talk when somebody was asking one of the panelists, when you write, what do you plan on when you are writing? Actually, writers and authors know that you don't plan when you write. The words come, you surrender to the divine and flow, and that flow enters inside. Do you have an agenda? Do you think about it? And it is not like that. So that is why mind is a intermediary, but having not too much of a role. I did not know there was one more panelist who turned out to be a little controversial person also, and that person is taking no mind. You should not surrender and all. Was teaching talking about the opposite statements. But it is all still in the level of mind. That is why mind creates divides, mind creates harmony, mind creates disharmony in harmony also. Very rare is it that the mind is able to create harmony. Mind can create harmony when ahankar is set aside and mind is listening to the divine will and divine force. Otherwise, mind will only create disharmony everywhere. So right now, a spiritual experience that our Dr. Nirodbaran has got has not yet got assimilated into him. He's got it, he's got some experience, but he wants it to be dissected on a mental plane. So let us continue. He asked further questions in relation to the same thing. He says, on the other hand, you write that in the avatar, the divinely born man, the real substance, shines through the coating. The mark of the seal is there only for form. The vision is that of the secret Godhead. The power of life is that of the secret Godhead. And it breaks through the seals of the assumed human nature. Yes, can we repeat this once more, Sherwin, those words? Once more, can we look at it?
Yeah,
So
please.
here he's quoting that the divinely born man, the real substance shines through the coating. Real substance is what? Anyone? What is that real substance in the divinely born man? We have
Consciousness.
seen in the Gita also. What is that substance?
Their divinity.
The divinity, the Chaitya, Purush, the Atman, whatever name we want to call it, no? That is not going to change. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi will not come to the Atman. The Atman will not say, "Ah, I have grown old." No. Atman is eternal. So this substance, the real substance, shines through the coating. Through the coating in the sense, through the Sharira. Through what is the Sthula Sharira also, that divine substance shines. Like Teja emanates, no? Something like that. The mark of the seal is there only for form. The vision is that of the secret Godhead, meaning that vision is there on the inside. Many times it is said that is why the heart knows. Heart does not mean the emotions. Heart is referring to the heart center. That is one more of the
Mamma, che
points.
gocce, mamma?
Like the we can say chakras are there no, in the Sharira. Like that, this is one more center. We can call it Chaitya Purush. Yeah, that is this heart center is where. So anyway, the vision of that secret Godhead, the power of the life is that of the secret Godhead, and it breaks through the seals of the assumed human nature. So meaning this comes. This is the beautiful aspect. Krishna has told, no, Vyakta will become Vyakta by the Krupa. Sri Aurobindo is writing about the avatar. What is the avatar? Manifestation, no? Manifestation or Prakriti Karan in the Prithvi, in the material, the appearance of the divine that happens, breaking that seal, mold of human being, mold of the human nature. Through that, it breaks and the avatar is born. Sri Aurobindo replies, does it follow that the breaking through had not to be done, or was a mere trifling impediment? The power of the form can be exceedingly great, as every thinker and observer of life can tell you. So, Mr. Nirodbaran has quoted that to again dismiss the divinity in the form. The power of the form is limited, is what he's trying to tell, but that is again countered by Sri Aurobindo. Krishna also has asked us, isn't it, to look at the Sharira. We have to, what is in the practical. We cannot hold back other things and ignore the practical. Sometimes people just have, I have only one desire for moksha and nothing else. I care for nothing else. No, 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 you have to care for your sharira also. You will not, it is what, by desires will anybody get moksha? I desire for a particular food dish to come right now. Even that food dish will not come if unless I order it. So it is something like that. Moksha is something which will come as a consequence of our tapasya, of our sadhana. When your punya grows, it will come and it will come when the divine wills. Instead of that, this sharira should not be neglected as what something we see everywhere in Purna Yoga as well. The power of the form can be exceedingly great. Do not underestimate even the Sharira. Because many times this is spiritual ideals, people like it and let it remain in the thought. And there was a nice question they asked. Backstage and on the stage, there is a difference. He said when we see on the stage, it is because they talked about humility and harmony. So humility, people show humility and actually are not humble. That was a very nice discussion actually. That was wonderfully modulated as well. But then they asked me a question directly. But what do we do? Backstage is, we know when we do the drama or when we do all of it, on the stage there is something, but backstage there is something else. So how do we bring reconciliation? That was the question directed at me. So the answer is simple, isn't it? If the person is the same backstage and in the front, where is the question of trying to bring a reconciliation? Look at the best of best dramatists. In their mind, some other drama is not happening. They are in the drama. Even sometimes when the Natya Kshetra, somebody is practicing, they have to do again and again experiments of the same rehearsals, and then after rehearsals, they do performance. Multiple times they go and in the theaters they perform. They start living that character during that period completely. There is no difference between this person. The acting is not taking place. Because that is something. Here also, every great thinker has told that there is an exceedingly great power. There is an exceedingly great power in the form. Nirodbaran goes on. After this, you say that the avatar's descent is precisely to show that the human birth, with all its limitations, can be made such a means and instrument of the divine birth and the divine works. Even human sorrow and physical suffering he must assume and use so as to show how that suffering may be a means of redemption, transforming pain into ananda, using suffering also as a fuel to stop feeling the suffering and instead using it for furthering a progress. This is what the avatars are. That is what Sri Aurobindo has written, is what Nirodbaran is saying. Look at the avatars. Look at Sri Rama. Would he have felt happy to say, would he have been happy to tell Ma Sita, now go back to that forest? So much he waited for her, so much he pined for her. He fought a war, he defeated Ravana, and then he had to say that, isn't it? Did he not go through human-like experiences of suffering also? We talk about Devas. Look at Krishna. Did he get time with his mom immediately after birth? But But these avatars have the symbolism, the avatars have the meaning. They are there to become the example. Krishna also tells in the Gita, isn't it? Look at me, Krishna. Krishna is saying, Arjuna, there's no difference between you and me. Arjuna is creating that difference because of his mind. He thinks, I cannot be divine. Look, me, how can I be divine? That is the question he feels. You are okay, I can understand. Many times people say that for great personalities also, isn't it? That person could do it. He was like this only. You should see their childhood friends. This fellow, this useless fellow, you don't know, he became so great afterwards. But the greatness is what? It is a part of, it is a consequence of sadhana. And Sri Aurobindo said avatarhood is also. This is a beautiful Advaitic concept. Because otherwise, this Dvaita no, creates a kind of a negative attachment to the God is too good, we can never be like that. This feeling when we come, no? It is a kind of negative attachment, which is viraha, a kind of a separation, and sometimes people get attached to that also. My destiny is to cry only for Krishna. Krishna is too great, too far away. How can I reach? But it is okay. I still enjoy crying for him because in the tears I connect. That is not right, no. The one who is trying to give Ananda at all moments, he does not want anybody to suffer, especially not his own beloved ones. Santushtaha satatam yogi. That is my dear devotee who is in a state of Ananda. This Krishna has told. But yet the seeker of Krishna has not understood it. Because the seeker has got this viraha, one kind of detachment and attachment to that suffering itself. So this avatars have come to show us that we are no different, we are no lesser. But Nirodbaran is not convinced. He says, well, sir, it will have no go with me. My heart won't leap up to such a divine possibility, such a dream of paradise. You are saying all of this is like too much. This will not come to me. My heart cannot even leap. I can't even dream of it. This is who is speaking this? Is it Nirodbaran or is it Nirodbaran's mind? The
And
limitation is mind only, isn't it? This is the limitation of the mind which is telling that this cannot be understood. But on the soul level, yes, this leap can easily be taken. In Marathi, there's a beautiful bhajan. Akashi jhepa ghere pakhara. Means jump to the sky, take that leap, break that cage of gold, leave that cage of gold to get that leap. And there is a symbolism of transcendence. Transcendence is possible to each one of us. Each one of us means including you, including me, including everybody we know and we don't know also. Everybody can transcend. There is no barrier which is preventing except the mind. That is something, but unfortunately, our bosses yet he says, no, I can't take that. My heart will not take such a leap to paradise. Dream of paradise is not possible. Sri Aurobindo replies, your heart not leaping up does not make my statement a falsehood or a non sequitur or a chimera. Your heart not leaping just because you think does not negate my statement. He goes on further. He says, my fellow brothers, Nirodban says, my fellow brothers may venture to reach there through such a thin hanging bridge. But if they do, I'm afraid it will be into a fool's paradise. So he's saying, no, 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 my brothers will go, but they will go to a fool's paradise, not real paradise. Sri Aurobindo replies, the fool being myself, eh? For it is my paradise, and it is I who call them to it. So look at that. This is sarcastically showing him what a horrible logic. You're calling this fool's paradise. This sadhana, you are. I mean, sometimes Guru gives a sadhana, and Shishya says, no, this sadhana is useless. So in the process, what are they doing? Not only are they dismissing the sadhana, they are dismissing the Guru Tattva also.
Guru,
They are
yeah,
dismissing the Guru. Yes. See. So this is the limitation of the mind. That is why, you see, all the Shastras will teach us this only, to rise beyond the limitations of the mind. For that, we have to first identify. If you don't identify, you'll keep going like the example I told about one person now turning 70, has so many things like to do, and yet this person is just running around because of an attachment. Because I want to get XYZ position in Timbuktu College. That's all. Nothing other than that. In that, not recognizing what are the consequences of such an action, what are the gravities, it can become life-threatening. So many things can happen, but that individual's mind is not willing to register it at all because of the attachment to things. This is where, for Nirodbaran, he has surrendered to the Guru, yet the surrender is not full. He's still having certain attachments. That is why it is creating fluctuations. He's receiving the grace. He's receiving the grace. There's no doubt about that. But the quality of the grace is always the same quality. But the quality of reception, no, that gets affected. Means when you hear somebody speak, no, you have to hear from your heart. You have to try to hear from the heart. I would say try because today I had to listen to somebody speak. I already knew about that person. So I had to keep my logic aside. Otherwise, I would have got irritated before he spoke a word. So I thought, let it come into my heart, but it bounced out immediately because he told some sentences about against the parampara of the Guru Shishya. But otherwise, we listen, we have to let the words come inside, understand. Then only with the Chintan will start after Shravana is done properly. And then Chintan should be followed by Manana. Then Manana will have take place to further, it will go inside. Then comes the Anubhava, that will be the final. So it has to come. But until the mind is not calm, the mind is not receptive, that will not take place. This is the Sri Aurobindo replies immediately. The fool being myself, eh? For it is my paradise, and it is I who call them to it. Nirodbaran, he says, the difficulties you face, the dangers you overcome, the struggles you embrace would seem to be mere shams. He's continuing on that line. Huh? Shishya has got that freedom to tell this kind of statement to Guru. He look, the struggles, all this, the difficulties you face, what dangers you have overcome, all of them would see in that logic, it would seem to be mere shams. Sri Aurobindo replies, truly then what a humbug and charlatan I have been, making much of sham struggles and dangers. Or in the alternative, since I took them for realities. What a self-blinded imbecile. My God, it's so difficult to read it out only. Sri Aurobindo is just humorously saying, this is something which it's like, it is a beautiful relation here. He's trying to make him see what kind of logic you are meaning. Does that mean I'm a complete fool? That too, because I'm not practical. He's used that word for himself. Nirodban says, Mother knew she was an avatar at a very early age. Sri Aurobindo says, at what age? But I shall say nothing about the mother. I cannot bring her into such arguments, only myself. This is also so beautiful. One guru does not pronounce another. Here, she is his collaborator, his spiritual collaborator, everything. But he said, I will not pronounce, I will not speak. I can talk about myself. I will not talk about the mother. But it is beautiful if you see the mother when she was a young child. Her mother told her to go and sit in a corner, sit in some place, don't move around. She sat in one place so silent that her mother came. What happened? She said she was dreaming about the world and she was seeing how she was raised high in the air. She got an occult experience at a young age. And everybody's trying to come and touch her frock. And from her frock, so many threads are going and all souls are catching, trying to reach that light. At such a young age, she had spiritual experiences. She did not know who Sri Aurobindo was, but she was having guidance from somebody called Krishna. In France. She did not get, and she was getting spiritual guidance continuously from some being in an occult plane. She called that being Krishna. On the spiritual path, she was moving one step ahead. She had gone to Japan. Our Rabindranath Tagore had also gone there and did some meditation. So many things, so many different practices of Adhyatmic Marga she was experiencing. She did not know, so she had an opening. She was something different. That is what our Nirodbaran is trying to point out. See, she, at a young age, she knew she was an avatar. Now, there was not a declaration. This was his Nirodbaran's statement that she was an avatar. This is not mother declaring I am an avatar or I am this. This is the what people have, no discussions, people give attributions. So it is like that. Sri Aurobindo said, I do not know which age because this is a very just a statement without any reference. And then he says, I will not talk because it will become different. He said, I will not talk about it. I'll talk about myself. But Nirodharan does not listen, you see. He still continues talking about her. He says, she was thus able to follow the paths of travails through volcanoes and earthquakes. But if she says to me, you can also do it, I will cry out, forbear, mother, forbear. No. Sri Aurobindo replies, nobody asks you to go through volcanoes and earthquakes or to proceed unhelped. You are simply asked to follow the leader and guide with the divine help and with courage in the face of whatever difficulties come. So beautiful. You see, Sri Aurobindo himself is just calling himself a leader and guide and nothing more. This is the beautiful humility. Not taking that adhikar and transferring it everything to the divine. Na ham karta, hare karta, what more can we want? Understanding of what is the meaning of it. When the one who has become one with Krishna, he himself is saying the divine is helping in sadhana. Many people say, I want to do something for God. What are we going to do for God is the big question. Namini says, what are you going to give bath? Sadhana is going to be done by us, or it is going to be done by the divine through us. That is the right approach. Let the divine take my sadhana ahead. I will be a good, receptive instrument. That is all that is needed. That is all that we have to. We don't have to. Otherwise, what happens? We get into quixotic battles, imaginary battles. We start, oh, this is the force working. I will counter that force with this force. Now this force is not enough. Let me get some more support. I'll call some more people to send some more force. Five, six people then sit together and then do a particular action reaction. This is something which is unnecessary if you can connect with the divine directly. Nobody asked you to go through volcanoes and earthquakes or to proceed unhelped. Isn't it beautiful when we already know that somebody has walked the path? When somebody has walked a path ahead and it has been laid. For the gurus to create the path, they had to take struggles, isn't it? They went through so much. What our gurus went through, it cannot be, we cannot even understand what was it. They went through that, but they are not asking us to go through the same experience. And we are not there, and it is something like many times, the trouble for pathfinders is they have to break rocks, they have to lay a path, isn't it? But once the path is found, travelers find it easy to walk on that path. It is so simple as that. Nirodbaran should understand, Sri Aurobindo is saying, you are simply asked to follow the leader and guide with divine help and with courage. Courage is important. This courage is important to move ahead on sadhana. No sadhana can take place without courage. The face of whatever difficulties come. So before we go to the next one, can somebody tell me how can we develop courage in the face of difficulties? Anyway, anything practically. Difficulties can be anything, isn't it? Physical difficulties, emotional difficulties, sometimes physical ailments only come. Sometimes emotionally we become too down to think properly. Sometimes we get so scared. We sometimes have all of these totally confusing situations. We don't know how to deal with that. Sometimes economic hurdles, you cannot give philosophy and poetry. No? Your bank balance is less. Will it increase with some very divine golden poem? No, no market value for that also. So sometimes, like somebody who has got a big debt, that person cannot repay. So, like these, when hurdles come on the path of sadhana, One thing Sri Aurobindo is saying, we have to find the courage and follow the leader. But how do we find the courage? Anybody? As a just it is like a sharing. You can just share your. It's like a gift. If somebody gives the answer to this, it will be for everybody to practice. How do we find the courage in the face of difficulties and challenges? Anybody?
We have to surrender.
Yes, but everybody thinks they have surrendered. No, still
No,
after
no, no, that
surrender,
is
I'm having problem.
not very easy at all.
Yes, Ji? Yes, Maji?
It,
Sorry, you got muted, Ji. Please continue, Ji. Sorry.
it is surrendering is also not very easy.
Surrendering is not easy. Okay.
Yeah,
But when you surrender, you are ready to face challenges, no?
yeah, correct. And patience also needed very much.
What is needed, Ji?
Patience, patience.
Sorry? Patience and surrender. Ah, that is important, isn't it? Patience and surrender. But if the surrender is not complete, we will have the fears.
Yeah,
Somewhere the surrender is lacking. Means why am I having it? Because the surrender is not complete. Somewhere I'm still having attachment. Somewhere I'm getting impatient. Somewhere this is still not yet. Some tinkering is required on the inside. Otherwise, when a surrender is complete, it is Jako rakhe sahiya mar sake na koi. Nobody will come in between. It was a beautiful line in my school. It was a Christian school. They had this photo, but before the below that there was a beautiful line. If God be for us, who can be against us? Isn't that a very powerful statement? If God is there for us, He is there for us, then who can stand against? There was this nice question that was asked when I had written it some time back. I'll just try to recollect if I can. It was nearly almost 10 years ago. There was this from the skies, the sound had come. Who is it that who has surrendered to God and yet having fear? Who is it that who has offered himself completely and is still suffering? So there were some three questions. I'll try to find them later on. I'm not able to. And the answer was only silence because nobody on earth could answer that question from the divine. Because somebody who has surrendered completely will have no fear. Come on, use me. Sri Aurobindo had told, Yantrini chale yantram yatheshtham gananaike prakashasva sviya shaktim prakashayat. Meaning, this is your instrument, use it. Use it, break it, throw it. It's up to you. No, it's your instrument. Where am I coming in between? Who am I to come in between the divine will? Divine will shall stand, divine will shall manifest. We have seen different forces of the mother, Ma Kali. Nobody can come in the force of that when the divine will is manifesting. So we have to become good instruments. That's probably the what we can say tarka. But let us continue here. But it's an important point if we all want to remember in our life. This is something which we can keep it for us written somewhere that this is what we are all asked. Simply follow the leader and guide with the divine help and with courage in the face of whatever difficulties, whatever A, B, C. Stop making choices, and the Shraddha should be firm. If you start doubting, then no problem. It's like you are not trusting yourself, you're not trusting your guide, you're not trusting anybody, you're not trusting the divine, then you're not living life. It's just a what we can say a falsehood. So the falsehood must go, truth must manifest. Let's continue. Nirodbaran writes, if I knew I was an avatar, pardon my bold hypothesis, do you think I would cry or wail or for fear of any amount of crashes and collisions? Or would it matter if I began with a nature with not a grain of spirituality in me? I would jump from peak to peak in somersaults, go down the abysses, rise up the steeps without fear of mortal consequences, since I would know that I was divine. So this is very interesting. If I was divine, I would go. If I knew it, why will I be worried? I will take jumps from the highest peak. Because I am divine. Sri Aurobindo replies, would you? Question mark. I wish you had been in my place then. You would have been 100 times more fit than myself if you could really have done that. And how easily things would have been done if it's so easy jumping from peaks to peaks. And how easily things would have been done. While I did them and still doing them with enormous difficulty because I lead and have to make the path so that others may follow with less difficulty. Your path, you see, it's so easy. It would have been better if you were in my place, it would have been more effective. See, I am only struggling, trying to make a path which is not so difficult. Yours is like direct. Nirodban writes, there could be no death or failure for me. Sri Aurobindo replies, this is very important. The divine in the body is not subject to death or failure, yet all those who claim to be avatars have died. Some by violence, some by cancer, some of indigestion, etc. etc. You yourself say that they were all failures. How do you reconcile these self-contradictory arguments? So I would never die. Then he's like, what is this? Then these people you call avatars. These avatars left because of some reason or the other. In one talk also I was asked one very useless question. So why all our avatars have done suicide? I was like, madam, it was a teacher, it was a faculty program, so I couldn't immediately speak out too much also. I was just, I just tried to, no, nobody did that. No, 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 see, ultimately, Krishna, I said, Krishna got shot by an
Killed.
arrow, no?
Hmm.
So, no, no, but he knew it was going to come to him, no? So he allowed that to happen. That means he is doing suicide only. Then I said, Madam, that's quite a harsh statement. But if you just try to look at all the avatars, then it was a very 15-20 minute conversation. But the same person is claiming to have dialogues with Krishna also. I mean, that was very interesting. This is what's self-contradiction. People live in these self-contradictions all the time. This is a dangerous aspect. That is why we need to understand true Advaita. No inner life, outer life, Bheda. Sometimes people are so brilliant, or at least appear they are so brilliant. And then you see they're so afraid about what's going to happen, afraid about means one big sadhak is teaching about pain, okay, for so many people, and I think they have a painfully high fee also for that workshop on pain. But keeping that aside, that same person is afraid of going to the hospital and getting treatment and getting out. If they give me this, what will happen? And the person is like a fish out of water just for going to the hospital and seeing the doctor. What does that imply? Does it imply that the person is living the principles of fearlessness or is reading those principles? The person is reading and not living. That is important. So, self contradiction, Krishna, Sri Aurobindo wants our Nirodbaran to remove it. And through that, probably this beautiful dialogue immortalized for all of us. Maybe inside of us also, we can utilize this, what goodwill Sri Aurobindo is having for his Shishya. Let us utilize that to remove our own self contradictions also. Nirodbaran goes on. He says, you say a physical and mental body is prepared fit for the divine incarnation by a pure or great heredity, and the descending Godhead takes possession of it. So Nirodban saying this, that physical and mental bodies prepared fit for divine incarnation by a pure or great heredity, and the descending Godhead takes possession of it. Now, I do not know what is the difference here. It is probably page 157. If we do look at it in a way, we can probably connect it with the Gita, where Krishna says continuously multiple births he takes, and each birth is becoming better and better, and ultimately the Krishna that we know. So this could be something which is being but I do not remember exactly what is the context. Sri Aurobindo clarifies here immediately. He says, like my heredity, question mark, it was pure Question mark. But of course, I am not a divine incarnation. Only, why put all that upon me whom it does not fit? Don't put all of this, it doesn't fit on me, no? What pure heredity? Nirodbaran goes on. To his beloved children, created with his own image, the divine says with gusto, I send you through this hell of a cycle of rebirths. Don't lose heart, poor boys. If you groan under the weight of your sins and those of your ancestors to boot, I will come down and take hold of a pure heredity with no coating around me and say unto you, come and follow my example. Now, this is good sarcasm, though it is a what we can say he is contradicting his guru. The style is at least here, it is nice. So he's saying, see, look at this. What this is actually should understand it so that it's better. Otherwise, someone may misinterpret it. So he's saying this. He says, I send you through this hell of a cycle of rebirth. This is what the divine is telling whom to all the followers, to all living beings. That eko hum bhavasyaami ka artha yahi hai, is what Nirodbaran is saying. I send you through this hell of a cycle of rebirths. Don't lose heart, poor boys. Boys in the sense because Nirodbaran is talking to his own likes. It could be boys and girls, of course. Don't lose heart, poor boys, if you groan under the weight of your sins and those of your ancestors, meaning you are going to suffer your sins, your ancestors' sins also. But don't you groan. I will come down, he says. I will come down and take hold of a pure heredity. I will come down as an avatar, immaculate, perfect, with no coating around me, no past sanskaras, no other deficiencies. And then I will tell, see, come, follow my example. So he's trying to sarcastically even mock what has been told in our scriptures also. Sri Aurobindo replies, who gave this message? It is your own invention. The divine does not come down in that way. It is a silly imagination of yours that you are trying to foist on the truth of things. The divine also comes down into the cycles of rebirths, makes the great holocaust, endures shame and avloki, torture and crucifixion, the burden of human nature, sex and passion and sorrow and suffering, manifests many births before he reveals the avatar. And when he does reveal it, well, read the lives of the avatar and try to understand and see. Nobody said there was no coating. That is your intervention. So yes, sir. Rajivji wants to say something. Yes, sir. Please tell me. Please unmute, sir.
While I'm listening to this conversation, interesting conversation between Dr. Nirodbaran and his master, my mind goes to the fourth chapter and the shlokas in the fourth chapter. There is a
Bahuna.
shloka which says, Janma karma cha me divyam,
Ah.
evam yo vetti tatvataha, tyatva deham punarjanma, naiti mameti surjuna. So that means my birth and my karma is a
Divine.
divya, and it is very difficult for anybody to comprehend it. And one who comprehends it will never experience rebirth. I mean, that is the
Becomes
complexity
moksha.
of mind. So that is the discussion that is going on. The assumptions of Dr. Nirodbaran about how it has come across, and the answers that Aurobindo is giving him actually is something which is a glimpse of this complexity which is mentioned in the Gita. Okay, and also this role of a leader that is there. So there also Krishna says, "Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tans tathaiva bhajamyaham, mama vartmanu vartante, manushya partha sarvashah." That means one who follows me. Mama vartma anuvartante, manushya partha sarvashah. So there also he says that I am the leader, and anybody who follows me. And that is why that responsibility is on me in order to work in such a manner, because if I stop working, then what will happen? That is why I work continuously. And all those kind of things which he is trying to say is for people to emulate. And he is demonstrating his leadership. That is what I think Aurobindo is also doing and telling Dr. Nirodbaran
Yes,
in a
sir.
similar manner as to what it is supposed to be. Right. So this
Yes,
is
sir.
the
And there's a
darshan of the
shloka also
fourth
about
chapter.
many births, no, sir?
Huh?
Yes, there's also the shloka about multiple births also, no? Bahuna Janmanamante. That is something
हाँ
which
बहुनि मे व्यतीतानि
uh,
जन्मानि तव च अर्जुन तान्यहं वेद सर्वाणि न त्वं वेत्थ परन्तप. So I mean
yes. So
multiple
I
births
know,
you have
you
taken.
don't know.
I know all of them actually. So but
Yes.
nobody knows
I have
me.
also been born multiple times, just like you have also been born. But the difference
Exactly.
between Arjuna and Krishna is this, that Arjuna does not know. Arjuna
And
thinks
he,
this is everything. And Krishna, that is why he
and
is
Krishna knows.
drawing wrong inferences. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Sir.
for that beautiful Gita reference. It always Gita mix up, throws a beautiful light whenever we look at it. Thank you, sir. So he goes on. Nirodhan is not satisfied still. He says, not a very inspiring message, sir. Sherman says, no, of course not. But it is yours, not any avatar's. He then goes on. He says, Jatakas tell us that in every life, small or great, Buddha's frontal consciousness was always above the levels of others. Sri Aurobindo says Jatakas are legends. Ramakrishna and Chaitanya began yoga in their cradle, it seems. Nirodharan replies. Sri Aurobindo says, did they? I know nothing about it. But if they told you that, exclamation. Anyhow, one died by drowning and the other of cancer. So Arjun, he's saying no, that no, avatars will not die. But if you are looking that way, that was their journey. But it's very nice. But if they told you, how do you know? Somebody says this is what they call hearsay, isn't it? Somebody told me. Somebody told me you did this. If somebody asks you, do you have to answer that question? First thing is you have to say, who is that somebody? Give me reference. Then I will think of answering or not. We don't have to go into these people are talking about you like this person is saying, what will others think? Who are others? I am also others. I am thinking differently. I know I am wise, but people think otherwise. They have that right. No, we cannot go into that aspect. So he says, no, if they told you. Nirodharan goes on. He says, I don't know if avatars ever play the part of the rogue or the eternal sinner. Sri Aurobindo underlined, rogue or the eternal sinner? Krishna was a rogue and sinner even in his avatar life, if tales are true. Don't you think so? So he's again questioning. We don't have to draw it as an inference. Somebody will ask a question and call it a statement. We don't have to misquote this. Shri Nirodharan says, now about your absence of urge towards spirituality. He's changing the topic. Now about your absence of urge towards spirituality. Even though that sounds like a story, pray tell us how you could free your mind from all thoughts in 7 days or be established in Brahmic consciousness in a few days. So this is one of the anubhavas that Sri Aurobindo got. But can you see this after the anubhava also, what humility is there? Today's topic was humility. I think we just would have seen humility of Sri Aurobindo only and so many places. Where in Auroville we had this, it is a festival celebrating humility, and today's subject was humility and harmony. But look at this. Nirodharan is asking him about a achievement on the spiritual plane, where Sri Aurobindo had reached a freeing of mind from the thoughts. My question is it possible? The very concept of freeing mind with from thoughts, is it there anywhere? Is it possible? for us to think about it? Anybody? Is it possible to free mind from thoughts? Sharda Maji saying something? Yes, Rajiv ji can speak after Sharda Maji. Yes, Maji, what did you say?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
No,
Rajiv ji,
not at all.
any precedents anywhere in the Gita or anywhere else? Yes, sir.
No, there are, I mean, Gita does mention that when it says that Mayeva mana adatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya. So that means place your mind in me and your buddhi also in me. That means that you get your mind into such a state that there are no thoughts. And in fact, we do experience this every time we go into deep sleep, that the mind, there are no thoughts there
Okay.
that
Okay.
are
Technically,
always
that is true in the deep
correct.
sleep.
So, yes, that is deep sleep
In the
experience that
Gita,
we
there is
have.
somewhere else also, na kinchit api chintayet,
Ah,
a
yes,
place where not a single thought exists.
correct.
Means if you understand, if you want to, maybe the very concept may look too much for us, not a single thought. But we know when thousands of thoughts are there, hundreds of thoughts are there, we know that, isn't it? Those moments we've heard, too many thoughts coming inside of head, making me restless. Gita talks about
Yes.
asha, pasha, shatair, baddha. So many bonds of desire. These are the originating these thoughts. So the yogi says, Are these I am overthinking because of so many thoughts of either expectation, attachments, desires. So let me cut that off. Acha, not to go to the other extreme of thoughtlessness, but when we are extremely overwhelmed or extremely happy, extremely peaceful, something very nice and divine happens, don't you suddenly feel quiet, trupta, when you feel satisfied? Do you have too many thoughts when you're satisfied?
No.
No, isn't it, Ji? Because that is a diluted form of Brahmananda. That satisfaction that you felt means that warmth in the heart, that happy feeling, that good feeling. You should not be satisfied with that only. You should understand it is just a trickle. This is just a portion of that Brahmananda, and now I have got the taste, so let me now go further. It's like already the direction has opened. I got that feeling. Many times, before I went to the Amliji, I would still search. That day I felt so good. What was that feeling? How can I find it? I thought I will find it if I do this or do that, but it was not coming at all. But somewhere inside, I knew that feeling is there. That is a good feeling. I need to go to that good space. So as we go higher in consciousness, the interferences of the mind stop, the thoughts also go to quietude. And Sri Aurobindo achieved this, actually. That's what he said in 7 days and Brahmic consciousness in a few days. Rajiv is saying something, is it, sir? You want to say something? You're most welcome.
No, I wanted to say something. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I
Yes,
thought
sir.
I should just say this. See, the thing is that when you try to understand spirituality as such, and when you try to understand what this whole thing is about, Aksharam Brahma Paramam. I mean, when you really meditate on that, so whatever is there is that, and there is nothing else, whether it is Krishna consciousness you call it or whatever, everything is that. So when you get into that particular state, the thought itself and whatever is the content of that thought, that also becomes that. There is nothing which is a form that you can think about which is different from that.
But that is
And
not
and and
the thinking is
and
different from Anubhuti, no, sir?
No, that is what I'm saying. I mean, when you come to that kind of an understanding, it becomes easier to get into a thoughtless state because any thought that comes naturally brings along with it some kind of a form, and that form has got something. I mean, either you want it or you do not want it. If you got it, then in that case you are elated. You get into that state of happiness that is there. But if you have not got it, you would still be thinking about it. So, I mean, this is a state where you come to know that yes, and it becomes easier to slip into a state which is going to be a thoughtless state. That is,
Yeah,
that
so
is,
maybe it
I
is
mean,
going to
with that
miss,
kind of
ha.
an
That is
understanding,
important
with that
about
kind
what
of
you
an
are saying.
understanding, it becomes easier.
Ji,
Without
sir,
that
that
kind of an
important point.
understanding,
So there's this point about slipping into that state or letting that state descend into us. This meaning this by thought alone, we are not going to reach that state. We'll have to reach a poise, we'll have to reach the inner quietude. Ground will be created for it. It's
Correct.
like the patra will be opened, and then the rasa or amrut will enter into it. So for that, first thing
Correct.
is to become silent. So let us see what Sri Aurobindo is going to reply about this, because I think this is very interesting. It's something must be done, literary work also, about the spiritual experiences of Sri Aurobindo. Just collecting them out, whatever he has told, and then going in depth. That would be a beautiful aspect to study. I hope I get a chance to study it. If somebody else has done it, even better. So let us see. Three. Three, if you please. Meaning in 3 days he got that Brahmic consciousness. You are terribly inaccurate in your statements. It was simply through the divine grace. Look at this, so beautiful. Humility. It was through the divine grace, Sri Aurobindo is saying. It was simply through the divine grace because it had been done by thousands before me throughout the centuries and millenniums. And the divine did not want me to waste time over that. Other things in the yoga were not so damned easy. When they saying it was Krupa, it was that Krupa that made it happen easily. Damleji also says the same thing many times that with grace, people do tapasya. They spend their time in tapasya. They call it tapa. One tapa is how many years? It's 12 years. So people do sadhana for 12 years and they complete. Some of the yogis, like in Kumbh Mela, the great ones would meet. They would probably, I have completed 2 tapa. I have completed 3 tapa. That is the number of years of tapasya. But again, this time is not something we have. It has been told. I think it is in Kumara Sambhavam. There's a beautiful dharma vruddheshu vaya na samikshate. Age is not a factor for those who have gone ahead on the path of dharma, who have dharma vruddha. They have become senior. So this, by divine grace, it can get hastened. Damini said it can become 12 moments, it can become 12 seconds, it can become 12 days, it can become 12, anything, 12 months. It doesn't have to be 12 years also. Yes, Rajiv ji wants to say something. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Arjuna also says the same thing when in the end finally he says Nashto moha smrutir labdhva tvat prasadan maya achyuta. It is only with your grace that this
Hmm.
moha has actually vanished. So had it not been your grace, this would never have happened. I mean that is what is the state which everybody gets into actually.
Yes, yes. And Chayanda says, see, millions of people, many millennium before, century, thousands have done this and have reached it, this state which is being talked about, which Nirodbaran is considering is a very different thing. But you see, the other things in his sadhana were not so easy. We are still reading, no, about his sadhana. We are not yet into that place where we can actually probably, who knows, we can, if we all go to the higher state, we'll have, instead of Zoom meeting, we'll have another occult meeting on the plane. Right now all we can do is we can just read and try to piece together whatever we can understand about this higher consciousness. So the other levels which he reached, they were not so damned easy, but really this is possible. Telepathy is possible. Somebody sitting somewhere else can get an experience of what you are going through in another place. All this is what these are levels of consciousness which can connect us. They are universal, isn't it? Consciousness, is it located in certain pin codes only? Serviceable areas, non-serviceable areas, no consciousness. No courier will go in this area like that. No, it isn't like that. It is something which is universal. If we raise, we can reach. We'll look at 3 more questions and stop. Because I started late. I have to, and 3 more questions we'll look at it and then complete. And even apart from spirituality, what if you are waiting for the gallows for your country's sakes with perfect equanimity? Okay, acha, theek hai, but what about you? You were going to be hanged and you were with full samatha bhava, full balance, full equanimity. You were dealing with it. Sri Aurobindo has underlined perfect equanimity. Who told you that? I was perfectly sure of release, but even so, plenty of ordinary men did it before me. Nirodbaran says, what about your profoundly bold assertion that you would free the country by a force which was under your feet? Sri Aurobindo replies, never said that, surely, under my feet. That is why Sri Aurobindo did not allow anybody to write biographies about him. He said nobody can write accurate aspect. About Damliji also somebody had tried writing. They did not, that person had a great command over personal memory, and so he said, let me not he didn't record it. We thought he was recording. And he wrote and he said, I completed it. I was so happy, so elated. Yeah, it is complete. Let us see. And when I saw it and when it was seen afterwards, also like, hey, Bhagwan, what has happened? This is the exact anubhav which has become interfered by somebody else's understanding, isn't it? What actually happened? It's like you say something and then you pass it on to your friend. That friend passes on to somebody else. By the time it comes back to you, it's a completely different story, isn't it? So something like this, no, this is and under my feet is question putting question mark. That the force is under Sri Aurobindo's feet. The one who is so humble, he is saying like that. Then what of your brilliant career? Sri Aurobindo replies, my career was much less brilliant than many others. They ought to have progressed than father in yoga than myself. Example, Mussolini, Lenin, Tilak, Brajendranath Seal, the admirable Crichton, Gandhi, Tagore, Roosevelt, Lloyd George, etc. All avatars are all full of the essential principle. Last question. If one has the essential principle, what does it matter if one has no urge towards spirituality? The inner consciousness is there. Sri Aurobindo replies, all that does not apply to me alone. There are hundreds of others. The inner consciousness is not so rare a phenomenon that as all that. So this is something which we will stop at, meaning this inner, we just look at this point and we stop. Inner consciousness is not so rare. We have 8 participants today. Can we say that all 8 participants have that essential inner consciousness? Yes or no? Anybody? Yes or no? Chitra is saying yes or acha hoga. Is it there? But is there confidence? Yes. Krishna is there inside. That much confidence is there or not there? It is there. No, Krishna is there inside all of us. So that means that Tattva is there. And Sri Aurobindo is trying to say the same thing for all of us. That the divine is there. We should become conscious of it. And
But
when we are conscious, what
but
do we do? Yes.
doesn't like inner divine comes even above and beyond inner consciousness?
No, no, it is means above and beyond.
I mean, there he is above
So it
even.
cannot be inside. It cannot be inside, is what Adiji is saying.
No, I'm saying that is there a difference between inner consciousness and divine, or
Now, if you look at this is a metaphysical aspect. If you look at Mandukya Upanishad, it says Tade jati tanne jati tad dure tad vantike tad antarasya tad bahyasya sarvasyasya, meaning that's inside also, it's outside also, that's far also, it's near also. This is a sarvabhaum consciousness. It is like what we can say wave and particle. This is our difference, isn't it? But it is actually that one. It is something which is like this consciousness is spread out through us. It is something which is very interesting. It may be in another dimension, higher than the dimensions that we know. It is existing, but we are all connected by it. Sri Krishna has talked about Sutre Manigana Eva. What is that? I don't know. We'll use artificial intelligence to develop some nice models of this connection of consciousness. Artificial intelligence may not be able to directly have consciousness, but maybe can function as a tool for us. But it is there, it is there. We'll have to experience it. Meaning, how will you experience your consciousness on the inside and how will you experience it on the outside? That is an important question.
Then,
Aditi
if
ji?
that's true,
Okay, Johiji wants to add something. Yes,
I
Johiji.
have a question. So isn't this phenomena in every living being?
Yeah. In human beings, it is said to
Then,
be more pronounced than animals.
yeah, then technically every living being has this phenomena. So
Yes,
whether it's
yes.
like, then this question is sort of irrelevant. Whatever
No, the
Dr.
question is
Nirodbaran has.
not irrelevant because do we remember, Johiji, that we have divine inside of us all times? Johiji, do we remember it at all
No, we
times?
don't actually.
Though we know it. Now, you see, you just said that the question was irrelevant. Yet we don't remember it because this is Maya. Nature has a way of making
Okay.
us forget, isn't it? That is why it has to be re-established. That's all. Means de-establish it for ourselves. We'll never be alone. No? We'll never be alone when you know that divine company is there. You become more humble, you become more receptive, you become ready to face challenges and ready to move ahead on sadhana. Because everybody is going to that same place. We're going on different routes, we're choosing different vehicles. Some people like cruiser bikes, some people like to go in Volvo with everybody else. Some people have their own sedan, some people say, I want some SUV, whatever it is. The journey may be different for everyone, but we're all coming to that same particular point of consciousness and we're connected universally. So that is something which means today somebody told something very interesting is about how we go to the root, we can identify even those who are wrong. Even those who are wrong, they are actually wrong because of their pain. You connect to the source of the pain from where you will identify where that difference has happened, and then immediately you understand and you say, ah, this is that consciousness which has gone there. Right now, we don't have the power to correct our own consciousness. So we don't need to waste energies in trying to correct other people's. But when we correct our consciousness will have what we call this domino effect. One person's actions will lead to greater effects. Means how can we do it? How can one person do it? Now the same question was being asked. We see the mother and Sri Aurobindo were such great figures, they were able to do it. But look, we are not able to fulfill the agenda given to us. How do we do it? Now what's going to happen? How are we going to do it? These were questions which were asked. The answer was very simple. We have to do it together. We'll have to work. We'll have to not ask for anything in return. Again, Gita only. But that is the thing. So with this, yes, Rajesh, you want to add something? Yes, please, sir. Please unmute, sir.
The Gita also says, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagad avyakta murtena. So basically, I pervade everything that is there. There is not a place anywhere which is not pervaded by me. I am there everywhere. Now it all depends on the way in which we look at things. I mean, whether we look at the ornaments themselves or we look at the gold in the ornaments, whether we look at the pots or we look at the mud that is there. So it is for us to see because it is there everywhere, whether it is in the
We
good
are
or in
very
the
lucky
bad.
that
Apart
Rajiv ji
from
gives us
that, there is
Vedantic.
nothing.
We are very lucky that Rajiv ji gives us in short, very nice, so many Vedantic examples.
So,
Right.
I mean,
Yes, 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 sir,
it
yes, sir.
is said in the
I think
Gita.
sir, what do you think? So through the heart, it is very easy to understand, no? The divine
Huh?
through the heart.
No.
No, he's sitting there, no, sir. Hriday Sanniveshtam.
Eh, no, that is okay.
Huh.
Actually, there is a confusion in that also. See, Sarvasya Chaham Rudhi Sannivishtam. Okay. Now, when you look at it, where is he? Is he in the heart only? Is he limited to the heart and is he not anywhere else?
It is
It is
not the physical heart, it is the heart center.
I,
Go here.
yes,
Yes, sir.
when you go in the form of dhyana and wish to have a look, it will actually reflect from that point of view. But
Yes, sir.
basically, the presence of that is there all along and not a place where it is not there, actually. Because
Yes, yes.
places
But
cannot
like,
exist without that.
yes, it's like how why I asked that was because if we start loving something, we can learn better. We can
Yes,
start enjoying it better. Means we
correct.
start getting that rasa of it that will allow us to, go quickly. So we should somehow try to. Means one subject I did not like was maths because of the teacher. He had identified me to be a prankster, so he would ask me get up, get out of the classroom every day, one hit on my back. So that was in eighth class. So then I was like, this is very bad. I'm having a bad relationship with maths only. This will be troublesome. So what I
Yes,
did was I went to a wonderful. I heard there was a good teacher, though he was from a CBSE school and ours was a matriculation school. But I said, no, I'll go to that CBSE school and that teacher is good. I will learn maths, something I'll learn because this teacher is sending me out of the classroom every day
correct.
without
That
anything.
is
And
correct.
that particular year, I started enjoying. So the same subject in one year became what we can say. It was not no more. It was not more too intimidating. Became something enjoyable because
Yes,
I
yes.
started enjoying the flow. So in our probably in a
And a
sadhana
lot
also we
simpler.
start yes, sir. In sadhana also, if we start enjoying little things, we try to get the trupti and ananda and we're like, ah, चलो जो ठीक है
Correct.
यार ये ठीक है इतना समझ में नहीं है पर इतना समझ में आया. So that happiness will slowly, probably
That is
motivate us. And
absolutely
yes, sir.
correct.
So I think with this we conclude.
Correct.
If anybody has anything to ask further, you are welcome, or we conclude with a summary. Yes, anybody would like to summarize? Everybody is waiting for Chitraji. Chitraji is waiting for, or Aditi ji, Johi ji, anybody? Would you like to give some points? Rajiv ji, Sharda Ma ji, Manisha ji is also here after a long time. Welcome, Manisha ji.
Yeah, Sri Aurobindo said that we should keep courage in the face of difficulties.
Ha. Courage in the face of difficulties and follow the leader or the
Hmm.
guide and get the divine help. Receive it. It is there. It is the question of receiving it. Many times we only turn it away with our mental impulses. That is not something we should do. All right. Yes. Next point, anybody? Yeah, okay, then Chitraji can go ahead. Yes, see.
Yeah, most of the questions were based on the essays of the Gita, what Dr. Nirodbaran had read, and those aspects which he was not very convinced, mainly about avatars. So he told that avatars are such beings where their real substance radiates, and all the lower elements are or the disadvantages or drawbacks of Maya is something that they don't go through. And avatars are here to show that humans can also transcend, and all these things feel almost impossible for. I mean, it's very contradictory according to Dr. Nirodbaran, and he's somehow not being able to uh, convince with being convinced with those statements. So Sri Aurobindo counters all of these, and basically he's trying to point out the rigidity and the I can't aspect of Dr. Nirodbaran, and he reiterates that he has been there as a leader and guide, and with the divine grace, all situations, as Aditi ji told, it's possible to face with all the difficult situations with courage. So this is something which was an important thing that we saw. And yeah, it was more to do with avatars, where he feels that avatars, if he were identified himself as an avatar, he would be able to do all the impossible things. He will face no failures or death.
Jumping over peaks. Hmm.
So
That is like the
Dr.
last thing the avatar will do, no? Jump from one mountain to another. I have so much power. I'm going to now jump from mountain to mountain. But anyway, that is how he is thinking. Yes, please.
Yeah, so Sri Aurobindo says that he gives all the examples where the avatars also went through all the normal, ordinary human um, natures and of rebirths, everything were there, and also states that that aspect where how Sri Aurobindo reached the state of thoughtlessness in 3 days. It was because of divine grace, and he also says that a lot of people have achieved this much before him.
Before, by virtue of grace, is what he reached at his end. Yes, yes. So let us also try to reach what we can say, if not full thoughtlessness, at least some portion of thoughtlessness and a lot of thoughtfulness. Anyway, let us conclude. And but again, that is the ideal. Na kinchidapi chintayet. What will happen is that time you are having a clean, empty slate. And when the slate is clean, Krishna can write his own beautiful story there. Until that slate is cleaned of all those past sanskaras, past baggages, all the other things. Yeah, good, bad, everything. Sometimes you should just click the reset button. Something like that. Just erase everything. Then watch what beautiful stories our master will write. We just have to enjoy. We don't have to worry because headache will be for the person who has the head. No, so Sahasra Shirsha Purusha, Sahasra Shira, so many heads the divine is having. Let those heads worry about my life, my life's journey. Let me become the good instrument. Then let us see. So anyway, let us conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Hari Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् हरि ओम तत्सत् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं पुनर्मिलामः looking forward to next Sunday. Thank you जी. नमस्कार.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you जी.
Hari Om.
Hari.
नमस्ते. हरि ओम. हरि ओम. नमस्ते मनीषा जी. Good to have you back. Hari Om. Yeah, we conclude.